Hello, good morning. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create IAM user for your AWS account. The reason why you want to create and developing using AWS IAM user instead of your account is that you may in the future run into the cases that you have to give the other person besides you the access to developing using your AWS resources. Because one account is one ledger or money account that you use to pay AWS money, right? The cloud costs. So if you use one account but later down the line you want to hire someone or maybe invite your friends to come along and help you develop your awesome AWS applications or cloud applications, right? You don't want to give them your account's credential, username, password, right? You want to give them a user so that they can contribute. It's essentially joining the team. So to do that, you want to create IAM user accounts. In this video, I'll show you how to do that, and then you can form a team using IAM user accounts. And this team will be under this one AWS account that we created last time.
Last time we create the AWS account. Today I'm going to show you how to create the IAM user account and then use them to develop. First, sign in to your AWS account, and to sign into your AWS account, not the user account, you need to use root user. So my root user is just.shallwelearn. And because I have the multi-factor authentication turned on, I'm going to pause the video and enter my code. This is more secure. I would highly recommend turning this on. It provides definitely a very critical layer of security. Let me pause the video. I have just entered my NFA code and was able to sign in. So you can see that this is just my test AWS account. And just a quick glimpse, you can see that if you sign in to your root account, you can see the cost and usage. This month, I'm spending about 30 because I have some resources that I created when I followed a tutorial and I didn't delete them. So every month, if you create an AWS resource for learning, for following tutorial, make sure that you remove them or clean them up because it will incur charges every month. But what's cool is that you can see here are the AWS resources that I have created. You have Amazon Kinesis, Amazon CloudWatch, EC2, that stands for Elastic Computing Service, and also CloudWatch events, and each of them has a amount that I would pay for this month. So keep in mind the cost when you start working AWS. So right now, let's go to create the IAM user as I promised for this video. So click on IAM. IAM stands for Identification and Access Management. And now assume that you have just created your AWS account. You have not created any user. Let's go to users. And you can see that these are the users that I have created for my AWS test account. And I would suggest before you create the user, go to user groups to create the group so you can add your user to that group. And the reason why you want to do that is that sometimes you want to put, say you have a team or a team of 10 engineers, and you want to put them all into this group that has access to the same AWS resources for cost control. And then you want to create another group that has least access. So what you could do here easily is that I can create a group for now, just make it like say the test group, just for this tutorial. And then when you create that test group, you can say, okay, I want to add any existing user to the group. Well, we won't do this because we're going to create a new user. But you create this group, and then you can select which permission. I would suggest just to select the admin permission. So you search for admin, and it will say, you can find the AWS admin permissions, administrator access. So this one essentially give you everything. Obviously, I would not recommend this for every company or every team, but for its simplicity, I'm gonna show that you can select an access policy for your user group. I'm just going to create group once you create group, you will see that that group shows up, and you can click on that group, test group, and you can go to the permission and then just view the permission policy. And just very quickly, this is a really simple permission policy. This is a JSON schema, and what it is show the version, the statement, and in the statement, this is a list of all the possible statements. And this one is really simple. It says effect is allowed. There's kind of allow, deny. So the effect is allowed, and the action is everything. So the asterisk is a wildcard that stands for everything. Resource is everything. So essentially, what the statement means is that if you are in this group, you can do everything on everything. This is a very all-inclusive, very permissive permission policy, but just for simplicity. So now that you have seen what this policy does, right? Then remembering that the group that you had just created, go back to the user group, had that policy. So next is I'm going to create a user that I can put into that policy. Put into that user group. So I'm going to just say test admin, test Jess. You can give it any username as long as it's unique. And then you can also select enable console access. What this means is that you can, with this user account, you can allow this user to log onto their AWS console and directly modify, monitor, control the AWS resource from AWS console. So I'm just gonna select it to allow or to enable, and then you can leave the rest selected. The console password you can auto-generate, or you can create your own custom. I'll just leave it auto-generated. And then here the checked is user must create a new password when they try to sign in. So this is just for security, because then you wouldn't know their password, right? So I click next. When you click next, it says the first options is add user to group, and this is the option we need. So you just select test group, the group that we have just created, and you can see the policy that have been attached to this user group is the administrator asset. And then you just go ahead and click next. And now we can just leave everything as is. If you want to add tag this user, you can, but for now we'll keep it simple. We'll just go ahead and create user. Once you create user, it would give you a console password, and you can click on show to see the password. But remember, this password is only going to be used once. So this is a one-time use password. The user, whoever you give this account to, is going to create their own console password. And then I'm going to copy and paste this for later use. And then next would be you would just click return to user list. And now this user has been created, test Jess. And this user, you can let's just test by going to the console first. So copy and paste, or you can click on this copy icon, and then you open another tab, and you can paste this console. Then this would take it to a login page, and then it should already fill in with your account ID. If it's not, you should go back to your AWS account and grab the account ID. And the account ID is, you can grab it by, it just signed me out. That's very good. Let's assume that is the account ID, since I only have one account ID. So I'm going to use the one that I just created, test dash Jess, and then the password that it has just generated for me. And now see it asking me to use my old password but generate a new password. So I'm just going to give it some kind of a new password. And then do confirm password change. So this is what it would look like if you give this account to someone on your team, and this is how they would be able to log into this new IAM user account. So as IAM user, once you log in, you will see that the account the user account name, and then also the account ID that this user belongs to. Remember, the account is the ledger account, the money account, right? And it's for usually one account per organization. Sometimes your organization is a large organization, you can have multiple accounts, but for the most part, it could just be one account per organization. So now that you log in as a IAM user, this resource that you can see are the resources that you've been given permission to use. Sometimes you see the services, but you don't have permission to view them just yet. But because I have added this user to this admin group that I have created, it can see the resources, everything. It could do everything. It's a super user. So let me just demonstrate. So you see that I go to DynamoDB, and then you can view the table because this user has all the permission. Because it's in the user group that has all the permission. So you can see that this is from my demo. So you can see the theme park. You can see these tables that I created that already exist in this account. And then you can also check out the other region. If you see the other region, you can see that there are so many AWS region. They are always ever growing. You go to US West and then check out the DynamoDB there. DynamoDB tables are per region, and so that's why when I switch region from North Virginia to Oregon, I'm seeing different table. And that's how you can create a user and then have this user sign on to the console.